It's Volunteer Week, and the Source shines the spotlight this week on those people contributing to their communities here in Niagara. Unfortunately, many volunteers can't get out and do what they do because so many of the places where they do volunteer have had to tell volunteers we can't take them in right now during the pandemic. And Sid Mustafa, that's the situation with you and the Hope Center right now.
That is correct, Mike.
We'll get to talking about, what you're doing to fill in the time that you normally would use to volunteer. But let's talk a little bit about your story, because you do have a very interesting story. Came from Toronto, and you had some issues of your own. Are you comfortable talking about those?
Absolutely, Mike. So I had come from a background in education and psychiatry. I ran a assertive community treatment team in Toronto out of North York General Hospital. It's called an ACT team. It's an outpatient psychiatric team. I worked there for about 15 years as a manager. And in that time, it was a pretty stressful job. I also worked for CAMH, Center for Addiction and Mental Health, in the emergency department. But I got pretty run down, I guess, and there was some alcohol issues, which at the end did affect my work. I also do suffer from some bipolar affective disorder. So at the end, I had to come for treatment, and I came to Welland, actually Newport. It's in Port Colborne, Ontario. And I spent some time there. And from there, I situated myself in Welland to try to, take a few years off, or take at least some time off because all of those works had kind of worn me out, and, just get back to recovery a bit.
Your move into Welland, into this area here in Niagara, was for treatment specifically, but you decided to stay?
Absolutely.
And what made you make that decision?
Well, for now, you know what? I'm from downtown Toronto, so it's a much busier lifestyle there. And I found it's kind of small townish here, and the people are pretty friendly. And I don't know, I needed even with my disorder, I needed some less stimuli, I think. From my bipolar disorder, I needed less stimulation. I needed proper sleep. I needed proper, eating habits. I had to reprogram my mind all over again.
Now, you became involved in the Hope Center after leaving Newport. How did the Hope Center help you out?
Well, the Hope Center was a place where I could ground myself. As soon as I got there, they provided me with a lot of information. They provided me with some counseling. They helped me get some better housing. And so I just started volunteering there. My background is Turkish and Indian, so I do like to cook, and I always helped out with my family. So I started cooking for them. And before you knew it, I was one of the main cooks there. So I'm basically there 2-3 days a week, actually, for a good 6-7 hours.
Now, the Hope Center is still serving meals, but they can't obviously bring in people into the building. They're serving the meals out the door. I imagine that the camaraderie, the sense of community, many people other than you as a volunteer, but also some of the people that use the Hope Center services are missing those moments.
Oh, absolutely. So right now, Gina, who runs the whole kitchen department, she's a wonderful woman. She's been there for 25 years. She and Shannon, another lady who works there, they have been providing meal service out the back, but it's definitely not like the hot meals we served and the socialization people had when they came there. She has provided it's like eating in a nice restaurant atmosphere for them for so long now. And she would provide birthdays, Halloween, any occasion that happened, Christmas parties. So it's definitely, I think people must be really feeling it in the community that they don't have this place to go see their friends, and that they're confined to their homes.
Sid, can we wrap things up here and just tell me why it is that you volunteer? Why do you give back, and why specifically to the Hope Center?
I give back specifically to the Hope Center because they are the ones who kind of opened my eyes a little bit, because I was too down and, struggling. And I think my many years in Toronto were spent in a capitalistic kind of field where with the lifestyle was making money and having things and stuff. And right now it's a very humanitarian lifestyle. I don't need too much. And I do like, and it's fulfilling enough for me to help out other people who don't have as much. And I've always been blessed to have quite a bit. So this is a completely different experience for me, but it's an experience I don't want to change anytime soon.
Sid, we're going to say goodbye. We want to thank you for all that you do to volunteer in the Welland community. And we want to let you know that we really appreciate you, not just this week, Volunteer Week, but all the time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being on. I got kind of a raspy voice, but it'll have to be.
Thanks again, Sid. That's Sid Mustafa.